Hey, I have a question.
Hey, what?
Okay.
Why is this movie called Judgment Night? Who is being
I think Robert
judged
knows.
here?
I don't know, but I have a theory.
Because if I had to judge everybody, it would be like they're all assholes.
Hey everybody, you're listening to the debut episode of the MILKSHAKE Boom, quite possibly the greatest podcast ever made, but probably not. I'm your host, Robert James Haynes, and with me is hopefully always Christine Carstairs.
Hello.
This is a podcast about movies, or rather, more specifically, a movie. Every single week, we talk about a movie that someone on our panel loves. It doesn't have to be their favorite movie. It doesn't have to be an exceptional piece of work, an artistic masterpiece. Hell, it doesn't even have to be a good movie. It just has to be a movie that they love something about or that they feel is greatly underappreciated and needs to be rediscovered in some way. And today we're talking a little film from 1993 starring Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Stephen Dorff, Jeremy Piven, and last but not least, Denis Leary. It's directed by Stephen Hopkins. It's about four guys going to a boxing match. They take the wrong turn down a freeway, and then they witness a murder. That's right, Judgment Night. Christine,
Yay.
break it down for us. Tell us why you selected this film for the debut episode.
Well, I first saw this film, God, I must have been in elementary school.
This film is rated R, by the way.
My parents didn't limit what movies I could watch when I was younger, for the most part. So I ended up with really weird taste as a kid. I remember distinctly at one point in my life, two of my favorite films in the whole world being The Little Mermaid and Lethal Weapon. And I was by far the weirdest girl at school.
Possible future episodes.
Yes. For whatever reason, I was at home. I'm pretty sure I faked being sick. Whatever reason, I was at home by myself with a stack of VHS tapes that my parents had rented. And I remember standing in front of the stack and seeing a movie called Judgment Night. And I pulled it out, popped it in the VCR, sat down, watched it, and I was so excited by what I had just seen. I had to get up, rewind, and I watched it all the way from the beginning again. And that's the first film I can ever recall doing this for. By the way, I'm weird. I've done that multiple times. But Judgment Night was the first. That's not to say this is a brilliant movie or an American classic. It is an odd film. And it has one of the best villains played by Denis Leary. The things it does well, it does really well. It is not realistic at all. It's very cartoony. It's a bit film noir. It is completely over the top.
Christine, just quickly, tell me why you feel this film is underappreciated.
I don't know why more people haven't seen this film. When I mention it, most people, if they have heard of it, have only heard of the soundtrack. It's pretty hard to find.
All right, and I guess we'll go into a spoiler-filled, very detailed analysis of 1993's Judgment Night. I'm here today with Jose Rivera.
What's up? What's up?
Robin Kaufman.
Hello.
And today's guest slash co-host, Christine Carstairs.
Hello.
We have Emilio Estevez. He's the main character. His name's Frank Wyatt, also known at some point as Francis. That'll be important. Cuba. Am I saying that correctly? Cuba.
Sure.
Cuba.
Let's go with Cuba. He's Mike Peterson. Emilio's brother is played by Stephen Dorff. His name's John Wyatt. Jeremy Piven, who is one of my favorite characters in this film. He's Ray Cochran, or I think he's also called the Razor, if I remember correctly.
Any variation of Ray.
Yes. Yeah, any variations of Ray. Playing the other side of the coin, the villains, we have Denis Leary, the main character. He's playing Fallon, the drug dealer, the smart mouth, soliloquy giving.
Yeah, exactly. He goes on these epically comedic rants the way everybody does, apparently.
Well, the way Denis Leary does.
Denis Leary
Yeah,
does.
exactly.
And also, we have Peter Green. You may know him better from movies like The Mask. He was also in that pivotal scene in Pulp Fiction with the Gimp. He plays Zed.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, that's where I knew him from.
He's Zed, baby. He is Zed, and Zed is dead. Wow. Everlast does make an appearance.
Really?
Yes.
I missed this.
He's one of the henchmen. He's actually one of the last remaining henchmen.
He's the guy in the sewery area that says, I think he's not getting up.
Yes.
Wow.
What it's like. He was in House of Pain at the time, I believe. But yeah, he was credited as his real name, Eric Schrody.
I can't get over how young everybody looks.
It's depressing.
It's really crazy. Like, except for Emilio. Emilio looks like a very young Martin Sheen, like carbon copy.
I wonder why that is.
If you had
have
taken,
no
I
idea.
have no
Why?
idea.
So weird.
They're not related, clearly. I mean,
They have different last names.
exactly.
We start. It's slow motion. It's suburbia, a perfect suburban, happy, warm, bright, peaceful place. Bright red Corvettes.
In
This is like the
random-
busiest suburban street ever.
It really is.
Everyone's perfectly choreographed.
Everyone is here.
And they're so happy.
The two businessmen
Everyone's in frame.
Yes.
stick out like a sore thumb. I'm like, what are they doing?
They're going to business.
They're going to their business in the middle of suburbia. And I don't even know what city it is. Is it Chicago?
I had to look it up, but yeah, they're on the outskirts of Chicago somewhere,
Okay.
and that's where the fight is.
That's what I thought. Yeah, Chicago, and it's in the fall. We know this because there are like a million brown leaves being raked, and there are little kids.
and the
jumping on
song is Falling.
Exactly. Yeah, you play it yourself. Do, 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 do.
So the first character we're actually introduced to in slow motion again is Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character out of a bright red Corvette.
Playa.
I'm just a little girl walking my dog down the street.
Cuba Gooding he's just got it in this movie. He's wearing a leather varsity jacket. He's driving a red Corvette. He's hitting on all the chicks.
A varsity
cool.
jacket, and he's a grown adult.
He's 38 years old.
High school.
Speaking of grown adults, that's actually a little bit that kind of plays into what happens next is Emilio Estevez's character, where we see him and his wife, and she's like, "Oh, you're hanging out with your buddies, your friends. It's like I want you to act like when you're gonna act like a grown up."
Everybody, and I guess it starts with the wife, but everybody in this movie is just a straight up dick. Like, there's one person that's not a dick, and that's Emilio Estevez's character. He's always like tried, true, and blue, but everybody else is just being a dick all around him.
I disagree. He is also a dick to his wife.
Yes. Thank you.
Really?
What do you mean, really?
What did he do?
Oh, I haven't been out in 3 months. She's holding a baby.
The first time I watched it, I was like, she's a total asshole. Wow, what a bitch. And then the second time I watched it, I was like, wow, he is such an ass.
Wait. So basically,
She is rightfully pissed off at him.
So Emilio is an ass because he hasn't taken out his wife in 3 months.
No. He knew he was going out with his friends.
Mm-hmm.
The night before, say, hey, baby, I'm going to take the baby. You go out and have a night out.
Oh, but
Because I'm going out tomorrow.
he might have done that.
No.
He didn't.
No.
She hasn't been out in 3 months. She says it.
She had this man's child.
They've been married for 2 years.
It came out of her uterus.
Absolutely, I would hope so. All right. So we got the guys. They're going to the boxing match. Which, by the way, I don't know if anyone else noticed this, had the oddest sound effects while they were watching it. It was like almost cartoony.
I didn't
Like
notice.
the punches, it was like poof, 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 poof. Anyway, I guess that was just
It was
me.
like a karate fight.
The one thing I remember from them watching the television boxing match was Cuba going, another night at watching the boob tube. Like, he very specifically the boob
Was
tube.
that-
I'm like, who says that?
Was that 80 yard or did he actually?
No, it was totally. With his New Yorkie kind of, I don't know what accent he was putting on, but just boob tube. Like, every now and then he would put on some sort of accent.
It's called acting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
You're right.
So they get in a little bit of a scuffle. on the freeway during, they get into it with this guy. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what you think they were hinting at in the darkness, the past of Emilio Estevez's character, and like Mike, aka Cuba, was like, your brother used to be so bad and scary or whatever. And it's like, so what did...
They're like, what happened to you, man? What happened to you?
You lost your edge, man.
Edge, man.
You're not his father, man.
I don't.
Yeah. Not his dad.
No, but I am his brother, and I'm allowed to care. I'm allowed to give a shit about my little brother. I don't know if they were hinting to any one specific big thing. I think it was more of a lifestyle thing. I think they used to just get into fights and stuff, and
Now he's
possibly
a father.
be like a little bit of a mini gang between the four of them.
Well, yeah, it felt like they were making it out to be that Emilio used to be like the guy in a gang. Like he was a total badass.
And he does not
And
look the part.
he's
No
not.
offense to the man.
I
He's
never.
not that anymore.
I thought they were just a bunch of like, I don't know how to say it, like bro type.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think like, gang. I thought
Yeah, they're not-
just like these like kind of yuppie dudes who like, partied a lot, and then, they grew up, and one of them is had a kid, so his lifestyle changed quicker than the rest.
Yeah. They're like, I didn't get the impression they were like slinging cocaine or.
I guess the reason I got that impression, I'm sorry to
No, please.
but I later in the movie, like they just keep bringing up how you've changed, man, and you're not as hard as you used to be, basically. And
It's an excuse to
just
make
that-
it believable that
it's
he can
just
fight.
that they continue to bring it up over and over. And when we first watched it, like I thought that whole little car getting in a fight with some other guy on the freeway, I thought that was going to come back later. I was like, oh, this guy that they just got in a fight with on the freeway is going to turn out to be some bad guy later. Nope.
No.
Not a bad guy later. Never shows up
No,
again.
it's just
Never
two
see him
assholes
again.
getting into a fender
Just
bender,
two-
and then almost
two
fighting
assholes
about it.
getting
Yeah.
a fender bender.
Jeremy Piven's like, I'm getting in. The other guy's like, no, fuck you. And they inevitably collide because the cars are solid.
I'm going to quickly jump to my theory of why it's called Judgment Night.
Okay.
Just
Please.
while it's fresh in my mind, because Christine brought up something of how they're four yuppies. They're four, like, I think in some weird way, I don't know if it's the writer or the director or just me reading too much into it, that this is some sort of comment on suburbia and yuppies. They are in Escape from New York, the hellscape that is this cartoonish, like, comic booky, like...
Hellscape.
They take,
Hellscape.
they
Yes.
literally take a right turn off the freeway and land in Dante's Inferno,
This,
called the inner city.
Yeah.
it's like, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, I think that's the point where it actually turns into a horror film, just the way it's shot, the way it looks. Denis Leary's character is almost like some sort of judging character, like this wraith that goes around and like basically judges them, because there's multiple times where they mention that, hey man, this is probably like 10 miles from your house.
Yeah.
And it's like, we saw their house. There's lots of leaves. It's pretty. It's nice. It's
Yeah.
safe. There's people, but
Yeah.
businessmen
There,
walking-
I did catch that. Like Denis Leary kept saying, "Oh, you're from the north. Our pals from the north." He was very judgy
very judgy.
He was
Yeah.
totally judgy.
as he was trying to hunt them down. Very judgy.
Okay, so Ray, the Razor, has to get them to this boxing match because he's got to be the man. So he takes his RV. They take that wrong turn down, and now, like we said, hellscape.
Yeah, it's not quite as absurd as it becomes as soon as the RV is no longer part of the equation, but it already starts to get very film noir almost. It definitely continues to get much more like comic book film noir after the collision. But this is the point where Denis Leary makes the best entrance.
Tell us, preach.
But we're skipping the hit and run.
Oh, right.
Or wannabe hit and run.
Right.
Yes,
skipping the
aspiring hit and run.
bonds.
If
Oh yeah.
if we were Jeremy Piven, it would be hit and run.
What do you say? It was a dog?
Oh yeah.
No,
Well,
no, man, it's a dog. It's a dog. Fine. Here, let me down this bottle of vodka that I think was real vodka. If you watch it, he takes a couple of sips and then takes the bottle out of his mouth, and like half of it just kind of pours out. So it's like, oh, that's not water.
Well, he just hated to.
That was actually vodka.
It's very method. I thought I
method.
absolutely bought it.
I did like his reactions though after they hit that bum or that associate of Fallon's character. You know, like the guy that was stole his.
The
money.
guy that was in the Beat It video, Michael Jackson's Beat It.
Yes, and he was also in some show in the '90s on Fox.
I thought he was in Law and Order for a while. Maybe I'm getting my cop shows mixed up.
He might have been, but I seem to remember him from some show on Fox in the '90s.
So they save Beat It Guy. Find out Beat It Guy was actually shot.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Beat It Guy also has a wad of money. You see him stuff inside his bloody shirt a little later. And then the RV...
This will help clot the blood.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
A lot of money that I stole. They hear sirens and are like, cops! We gotta get the cops! And so they go chasing after this siren, and that's when they get hit.
That's
in
correct.
The
Yeah.
big car.
The three guys that knocked into their car drag Beat It Guy out, and then enter Denis Leary's character Fallon.
Okay, that is awesome because all the rest of the characters are huddled in the back of the totally getting on the point of destroyed RV. But they're all the characters are in the back of this RV debating whether or not to help, you know, this kid that's been dragged out of the through the broken window and is now kneeling in the street, you know, trying to negotiate with these obviously not very law-abiding citizens.
That's the nicest way to say criminal.
Yeah, total criminal. Obviously, they start making references to drug deals, and you realize, okay, this person that they hit was, you know, on the run from somebody, and this somebody's coming. And then this is where Denis Leary makes the best entrance for a villain. Like, it's one of my favorite entrances.
It was a pretty good entrance.
Yeah, you don't see his face at all. At all. Like, you just see him in silhouette, you hear his voice.
You do hear his voice, which kind of defeats the purpose of hiding his face, really, because his voice is so recognizable.
Because you cast Denis Leary.
Exactly.
But the first time you actually see Denis Leary's face is when he shoots the kid and it's lit up by the gun flash, which I thought, even at the time in 1993, was so fucking cool.
That was really good. I was very impressed with that.
And at that point, it also has another cool moment. This is what really appealed to me when I was a kid, was that the director focuses on every single character's reaction. And it cuts to everyone in slow motion, like as the gunshot goes off. So you hear it go off over and over and over again, which probably now plays really cheesy. But at the time I was like, oh my God, this is epic. So, and then Denis Leary looks over and he's
No witnesses.
Yeah, no witnesses. So, which not the most rational thing, you know. You figured they could have like taken him around a corner.
And you know what? This actually does hint at a darker past for Emilio because he makes a Molotov cocktail.
That's right.
He does. He's also the least affected by the murder that they just witnessed.
Just like
Straight up shot in the face murder.
Execution.
Execution.
In the middle of a freaking street.
Bad guy.
it was borderline. Oh no, not again.
Yeah, it was. Everyone else was like, whoa! And Emilio's like,
Just stone-faced. I've seen this before a million times.
not
again.
again. Man. Let me just make up this cocktail. Hang on, guys.
And then, just as they get out of that RV, and it explodes for what, 4 minutes?
Oh.
I feel like
It cuts to it a lot. It goes like 2 stories high in the explosion.
I
It
must
is
have
epic.
I must have missed the Molotov cocktail because the way that I remember it was I thought Cuba Gooding Jr. like lit one of the window dressing things,
No.
and then they escaped through the front window, and then the whole thing blew up.
No.
So I thought that was
is epic, but no, there was
I wish that had been it.
I thought, wow.
Emilio Estevez pours a bunch of alcohol all over the ground, and then he lights it.
takes like a
Oh
little-
wait, yeah, that's
little
right.
thing,
I did. Yeah, I do remember that.
Flicks the lighter, and then
That makes more
They
sense now.
escape by, breaking the front window because the van is wedged in
Yeah.
this little alley. So they kick out the front window. They all escape that way. Emilio throws the bottle, lights the RV on fire, and it must have like 4 fuel tanks because it just kept blowing up.
to the point where even the characters had to like have a comic relief. Both sides, the heroes and the villains. I mean, Emilio was like, "Oh, sorry, man, didn't mean to do that." And
Everybody in the movie pauses to look at, holy shit, did you see that?
and Denis Leary's
Yeah, that was
Fallon's
crazy,
character,
man.
he thought it was hilarious. He's like, "Nah, it's fucking hilarious. It's the Hindenburg, man." And then
I know we're running for our lives, but did you see this fucking thing blow up? It's amazing.
so the guys go fleeing. Oh, and the guys go fleeing, and then it's train yard time.
Oh, yeah, right.
yes,
The hobo train yard.
Turbo train.
Oh, that was fun.
Aren't they all hobo trains? At least in the movies. I mean,
Guess so.
So Fallon and his boys, they get in their car, and they go. He knows instinctually where these suburban cowards are gonna go. At least in his mind.
Constantly.
Oh yeah,
He constantly knows
because he is the specter of death.
psychically knows because he's like, oh, they're here.
Because
They could
otherwise
have been
there would be no
so
movie.
many places.
yeah.
But he's like, nope, they went to the train yard. I know these yuppie guys. They go to train yards first.
Well, they were. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll give him a pass for the sake of the movie for sure. Absolutely, it is convenient for the plot. Absolutely, but it does bring up one of the best scenes of the film, at least in my eyes, as they're trying to be quiet on a train car and being menaced by cartoonish homeless people. One of which one guy was like crazy and named, what was his name?
I don't know, but he used to be a football star.
Used to be a football
Oh,
star.
yeah.
Went to college.
He went to college.
He went to college. Yeah.
He's
He
an
played
educated
ball
man.
in college. Guys.
And what I love about this is like the Razor, Ray, despite having witnessed a murder, having witnessed an RV explode, running for his life, being possibly about to be murdered by homeless people, and if not homeless people, the people that are hunting him outside,
Cannibalized.
still will not give up his watch at the first chance that they ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "No, it's my watch." What? The fuck?
Take off all your clothes. Give him everything.
This movie definitely went out of its way to make Jeremy Piven's character an asshole. Like,
Oh,
he doesn't
yeah.
call the cops. He runs over a dude, does not get out of the car,
And thus,
will not give up his watch to the hobos,
gets
who
judged.
probably want to eat him.
That's true.
I'm just saying, he got judged. That's what I'm saying.
On that night.
But it does bring up, probably one of the many reasons they did hire Denis Leary is don't move, don't whisper, don't even breathe, which was even on the original poster.
Which I really want, and I'm sorry.
It was such a good menacing sort of like, looking for these guys sort of situation.
There's also a very pivotal moment that happens with Frank, Emilio Estevez's character, where he gives over his entire wallet, which I immediately thought was stupid. Instead of just empty out, like, do you not have credit cards and shit that you can actually use? Why would you hand over your entire wallet? Just empty it out, give him the cash, and then keep your wallet.
I thought that was really weird too. I mean, they needed it for the plot, but
Yeah. Well,
I
like
thought it was really strange.
I'm trying to remember the moment because I know that one of the hobos was especially snatchy. So I don't know if Emilio Estevez just like held up the wallet and then it got snatched in its entirety, or if
No,
he
he
just
straight
handed
up
over.
gave it. He's like, "Here,
Yeah.
take my wallet."
Yeah.
One of the homeless people does lunge forward and grab it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Was it that, or was it
that was
Uh,
snatchy.
Snatchy, Snatchy McSnatcherson.
Oh my god.
those hobos?
They finally,
Yeah, that one hobo gets loud enough to where it gives away their position, and then Denis Leary and his men start circling their way back towards that cart. Everybody flees the cart, and Denis Leary shoots the snatchy hobo.
But he doesn't
thinking
think
it
it's
was
the snatchy hobo.
Right, that's right. Because Cuba has given him his jacket at this
His
point.
letter jacket.
Yeah.
'Cause
Poor jacket.
Snatchy hobo must have taken it.
Yeah.
But you'll note that Denis Leary's character Fallon, again, knew exactly who that particular hobo was.
Yeah. He's like, oh, college hobo.
Yeah, he was like, what, did he say Yale or something? Or I don't know. It was like some weird, like, football
Purdue?
reference. Purdue.
Or something? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know football, so. So let's see. So, okay, our boys, they're running again to the apartment building.
Yeah, it gets even more absurd.
I think there's more, like, papers blowing in the wind. And
Yeah, it's like this really low angle on this dramatically lit apartment building and like park. And there's like an insane amount of newspaper blowing around.
Well, there has been constantly.
Yes.
The second they exited that highway, that's when you know this is such a bad part of town. The street sweepers won't go there.
Yes.
Like, I think that's what they were
There was
saying.
one point where they were running, and Jeremy Piven's character just gives up. He's like, "No, fuck it, I'm not. I'd rather them shoot me in the face than to keep running one more thing." And then and then Emilio Estevez's character has to sort of pump him up and say, "No, man, you can make this. Come on, you can do this." And he's like, "Ah, fine."
This was
Jog
after
or
they've gotten to
die.
the top of
Jog
the
or
apartment
die.
building. Oh, no, wait. They go in and break their way into two girls' apartment.
Oh well, no, because like
the
so,
roommates,
yeah.
right?
In transitions from the shipyard to like this apartment complex, I think that's where the scene that I was talking about happens, and then they get into these condominiums that are just like they're straight from The Wire. They are running crack from those condominiums.
And there is that odd kid on the swing set by himself. Just
Yeah,
watching
that's
them go.
right.
Yeah, so
You don't fuck with that kid.
no.
No.
No. So Fallon,
Everyone knows.
again, knows exactly where they're going to go. Did you notice how barren, by the way, the streets were everywhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Like a horror movie. Just saying.
Completely empty.
As if it's either a hellscape or a nightmare or somebody's being judged at night.
Dun, dun, dun.
So Fallon shows up at the apartment building, and he sort of gets into like a little scuffle with the people that run that area, I guess. But he kind of talks it down, and he ends up bribing the guy to find out where the guy's at.
Let's
I
make this
love this
clear.
quote.
Let's make this clear. Denis Leary and his men were in no danger. These are teenage.
They were children.
They were kids who were playing be hard, dealing with 4 grown men armed to the teeth. They were in no danger, but Denis Leary chooses to sort of diffuse the situation. He's like, "Hey, man, I know what's going on. You're trying to represent. Here, take this money." And
There's blood on it.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to give the quote.
Okay, well, I hope I wrote it down right. Basically, he's upset. There's blood on it, and he's like, "Ever seen any that didn't?"
Which, when I was a kid, I was like, I thought that was so profound. It's still awesome. Not as profound, but awesome.
So okay, so yeah, they burst in. They're being, I guess, protected briefly by the girl and her.
It is so strange how they came across that woman, too. This is the most rundown apartment building that I've ever seen, and I've lived in some dodgy places. But they strangely have an ice machine in the hallway that she feels safe to, like, walk it to in, like, you know, a house coat and, like, looking like a model with a baseball bat, weirdly. Yeah.
I thought I couldn't get over how many people wouldn't help them. Like, everyone was a dick. Everyone's like, "Hey, can I just use your phone?" No, like...
That part wasn't as surprising to me. Like, especially if this is the idea of a suburban hellscape. Like, you know.
Don't trust anybody.
Yeah, because it's comic book level.
Yeah, the reactions to like what they deal with is definitely stylized, I thought, for sure. So,
Yeah.
But you know what? I've lived in some slightly dodgy areas too, and it's not that unrealistic to be that ignored sometimes.
It's within the realm of possibility.
Really? But even the 2 women I thought were being straight up dicks. Like, especially to Jeremy Piven's character.
They let a bunch of strange, sweaty men
Yeah.
into
Oh,
their
yeah.
Their
apartment.
apartment.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it was to use the phone. And then they took a turn with the words whenever Denis Leary and his men
And
showed
that's
up.
why you don't let people into your apartment in this
Into your
world.
house. That's why you're scared when they walk in. Denis Leary could be behind them.
He's everywhere. He judges.
saying.
I thought that every time they came into contact with someone, I thought, okay, this person's going to become part of the story. And they just don't. Like, you
No.
see them for a second. I mean, it's very, I guess, lifelike. Like, I see you for a second, and then I don't ever see you again, ever. Like, I thought those girls were going to kind of become maybe a love interest for somebody who wasn't married with a baby. But they don't.
Or
They don't, like, or like, I need to join up with you, or, oh, he killed my roommate, so now I'm with you guys, or something. No.
I can see.
Do you know what I mean?
I had that feeling briefly because it seemed like that they did cast somebody that looked, like kind of model-esque, and almost felt like maybe something was cut because.
It felt like a longer scene.
Yeah, it felt like a longer scene, and then they book it to the roof, and we don't really see. Does Fallon interact with those characters to find out where they went?
We don't see it.
I feel like that was something that was probably cut. I mean, like if
Yeah.
they enter that apartment and then it's just
By the way, like Fallon's men, Denis Leary's men, they're just straight up shooting the doors down and kicking them in. If anybody's behind those doors, they are shot.
judged.
At night.
And yeah, they end up on the roof. And
Oh, okay. This is probably, at least in my opinion, I don't know how you feel about this, probably the crux of this movie. The entire pivotal scene where it goes from Fallon wanting to hunt these guys down because they witnessed a murder to wanting to kill them because of who they were and represented. That's why
I agree.
I can see that, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's why I think like after this, even though like, at this point like the cops aren't even coming for anything, it's like he's probably at low to minimal risk. Like granted, maybe it's just like he wants to look good for his boys or whatever, but he was so offended and incensed with Jeremy Piven's character trying to like bribe his way out of this situation with like he could so easily just get $200,000.
Oh, you're kind of skipping ahead a bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So they all end up on the roof, and they're...
Have we talked about the fact that Denis Leary has Emilio Estevez's wallet now?
No.
He got his wallet off
After he shot the
Purdue
Purdue, after
guy.
he shot the Purdue Snatchy Hobo guy.
Snatchy College.
He
hobo
searched
guy.
him, and then he found
Found his wallet with
Francis's
his
wallet.
driver's license and his address. So now he knows they're snotty northern
yuppies.
preppy yuppie guys, and maybe that's what pisses him off the most. Okay, sorry, Christine.
You're right, though. So they end up on the roof of the building, and they can make it across to the roof of the building next door via this insanely rickety ladder contraption that apparently these women have been cool with their kids playing with, like to cross from one building to the other. And it's like a death trap. Like, really? But even when I was a kid, I was like, that seems really dodgy.
Oh no, it's totally safe.
Yeah.
Totally safe.
So, so one by one, they make their way across, and it's very dramatic, and it's not really holding their weight very well. And they're all kind of rooting each other across. And Jeremy Piven decides at the last minute to back out of going across, and he's like going to make a stand, and he is going to make a deal with these guys and talk his way out of, getting killed.
Yeah, he's playing to his strengths,
Yes.
which his strengths are not jogging and or going across rickety ladder bridges.
Or being an honest, upstanding citizen.
You know
Yeah.
what we also forgot to mention? He pulled a gun on the women that were helping him.
Well, yeah, like they were like, I was actually with him on that one. I was like, no, fuck you. You guys are being straight up assholes to me. I'm going to pull my gun and I'm going to stay inside. It wouldn't have helped because obviously they're shooting the doors down.
That's
but
true. And you see why they
Yeah.
would do that, because they're expecting to be shot. So,
Yes.
logic thinking on their part.
I hope
I'm
they
totally
got shot.
This guy's like the worst. But anyway, so he decides to make his stand. So everybody has all the other main characters have made their way across. And now it's just Jeremy Piven left to confront Denis Leary and the rest of the gang.
So Ray is like, I wish I'd wrote it down or we had a clip or something, but yeah, basically he's not pleading for his life, but he's using every ounce of his salesmanship that he can to like appeal to Denis Leary's character. And you know, he almost thinks he has it at one point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, 'cause it's like, I'll give you $100,000. And everyone's like, ha, 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 fuck you. I'll give you $200,000. And everyone goes, whoa, 200.
well,
That's a lot of
I'm
money.
listening then.
That's what we got to do. We got to make a deal here.
Oh, and then he gives it like one guy's ring, and he's like, "Oh, it's, you know, or whatever it is," and it's like, just consider that like, you know,
A down payment.
wink, you know.
What the smarmiest wink in the history of winks. But yeah, so he hands over the ring, and it appears that he has bought over everybody except for Denis Leary, and it seems like even Denis Leary's character is like considering it. And then that's when you see something like snap in his eyes, and he basically gives this huge speech that I hope we have a clip of.
I don't know. I'll have to look up fair use, but yes.
Yeah, but it's like a really cool, epic speech, and you're better with quotes than I am.
I got
Can't
nothing.
remember. I can't remember it either. Ah,
Jeremy Piven goes over the ledge.
He gets
essentially.
tossed.
Yes, yeah, that was the
Like a sack of
period on the end of that
potatoes.
sentence.
yes.
Yeah.
Was Jeremy Piven's body collapsing?
Yeah.
He's murdered.
Yeah.
He's murdered in front of his friends. Another murder
Yeah.
for the night.
Yes.
And it's
Another judgment.
another judgment. And it's at this point that I no longer cared about the RV.
Yep.
I was like, oh,
You know,
okay.
there
Main
He doesn't-
characters die.
That's
All
one
right.
way. That's one way to get out of that debt.
Yeah. I was like, oh, well, Jeremy Piven's dead. He doesn't need to, reimburse that guy for that RV at all. It's fine.
There's a deleted scene somewhere, I'm sure, of this guy waiting for
The
him.
The
RV's going,
salesman
Yeah.
where
next
the hell
morning
is
going,
he?
Who is that guy?
There's a sequel where he's trying to hunt this thing.
And then a tow truck guy shows up with the burnt crisp of the RV going, here you go, pal.
Do 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 do.
Judgment night.
So, all right. So, the Razor's dead. The guys now they're on the run again. Yet again, they no reprieve from Fallon. Then they take it to the sewers, where I think it gets even weirder.
I don't know how he follows him into the sewers, how he knows where he is.
It's
Because those idiots.
Stand right under the grate
It's because they decided to have
and
an
are
entire
talking really
conversation.
loud like this.
It's like, oh man, that was really close. Did you see Ray? Holy shit! Oh, what? What's that? Our voice can carry.
It's echoing up to
This echoey.
Denis
chamber.
Leary, meanwhile, is looking down the manhole, going, "Hey, assholes!"
Okay, so they're down in the sewers.
The sewers are essentially like Six Flags water park sewers.
They're
full-
massive.
Filled with like water slides and all these really fun things. I want to go down those sewers in the summer. That would be nice.
And it seemed actually cleaner. Than,
It
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
It seemed very clean.
Very weird. Is this the point where Fallon's second in command gets killed? Like the guy from The Mask?
Well,
I'm not sure.
Cuba goes crazy.
Well, yeah.
Had that written. Cuba gone crazy.
Yeah, so did I.
Goes crazy. And this is where I went, oh, were they all a big gang and Emilio was their leader? Because he's going off the deep end.
Well, yeah. What happens is like they go through the Hurricane Harbor water slide sewers, and then they get to this one section where they have an option to go up, or Cuba decides to take a stand and to fight these guys, even though strategically not a very good position because we've got multiple entryways to this one point, and they also have no weapons. But they manage to scrounge some pipes and stuff like that. And
That perfectly random pipes that are
Yeah.
placed.
Have you not been into sewers?
Yeah.
I just love how well maintained these sewers are compared to the upper level. Like they can't get the street swept, but they
some
can come in
serviceman
and
say, hey,
scrub
you know
these.
what? I think we better leave some pipes in here just in case.
Hey, clean it up.
Yeah.
My God. It's like it's another comment on society. I'm telling you, the sewers are cleaner than the streets.
But yeah, Cuba's just like, we gotta fight, we gotta stand for our own, and ugh,
They
you,
got guns,
you
but we
guys
got
gotta have
pipes."
my
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's so incensed when
he's-
what's his name? Steven Dorff's John's character.
Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't have his back.
He doesn't have his back,
at
man.
all.
He freezes up the way a regular human would.
I felt like this movie was filled with a lot of overacting and a lot of underacting. There was no one just kind of right in the middle, like just Emilio's stone face.
Yeah.
He was.
I'm not emoting very much, just internalize everything. And then Cuba's there like, no, man, you guys get a pipe. I can't believe you didn't have my back.
Yeah.
He does fire at a bus later.
Fuck you, lady.
In another round of his craziness, he like goes through peaks and valleys.
I think this is the point where he just completely mentally snaps.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I mean, they like it kind of works a little. So essentially, they set up this sting operation where they're waiting for one of the hoodlums, one of the criminal element, to wander into this trap, and then they were gonna take that person out. And this is where, like, Steven Dorff's character, he sees that one of the hoodlums has entered the trap and is sneaking up on Cuba Gooding Jr. And he sort of freezes up. He doesn't, like, he's looking around for Emilio. He tries to warn him, but he can't get the words out. He can't move in. He's just afraid. And then eventually the guy gets in really, really close, and he's about to shoot Cuba Gooding Jr. when Emilio jumps out from out of frame just in the nick of time and saves Cuba.
Being the badass that he is.
Yeah. And then Cuba straight up shoots this guy.
And that, again, that's pretty much the last straw for, I think, Fallon. Because at this point, when the guys escape, and then one of the other henchmen basically is almost like is ready to quit. And then
He's like, what are we doing here, man?
Yeah.
This is stupid.
He has an existential
He's actually
crisis.
being very reasonable. He's like,
Yeah, which is
hey, maybe
right.
we should
Why are we here?
maybe we should just let these fuckers go. We've already lost one dude.
Or we know where they live.
Yeah.
Let's just go there tomorrow.
Why don't we just
now.
pop them when they're in the
Now,
crapper or
we
something?
can kill his wife and 3-month-old baby.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Sure, it's fine. I'll take that quote and put it.
It's fine.
But then it wouldn't be Judgment Night. It'd be more like Judgment Weekend.
Yeah.
Pay to see that.
So because he's being reasonable,
Yeah, or a wimp, I guess. Like
Or a pansy.
Denis Leary goes full Batman villain
Yeah.
and drowns him.
Yeah. Mid-rant. He's ranting. And meanwhile, he's
doing
holding...
comedy routine practice.
He's holding this dude underwater. He can't breathe, and he's just in the middle of the rant. And then he finally stops and looks down and sees that the dude is dead. And the other guy's like, I don't think he's getting up.
That was Everlast, by the way.
That was Everlast.
Killing it.
I don't think that dude's getting up.
He nailed it in the first take.
gold. Thanks, Everlast.
Hey, while you were ranting, I don't think that dude's getting up.
So I guess we'll skip ahead a little bit. The guys get away yet again, and then they happen upon, what is this, like, Wikipedia called it a swap meet.
A mall?
I thought it was
Really?
an empty department store.
I did too.
I thought it was a really shitty mall.
Well, mall, department store, kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
one and the same.
Large.
Yeah.
Store.
It was a weird store. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, they said swap meet, so I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, so
Multi-level store-like place.
Warehouse slash
warehouse.
Warehouse.
Let's call it a warehouse.
mall. It's a ghetto mall, I guess. I've never seen but I don't know, even ghetto malls. I've been to a few ghetto malls. They're still malls. This felt like a warehouse that someone just decided to sell stuff out of.
Yes. Something
like
like
a swap
that.
meet.
It was like surrounded by abandoned
There we go.
buildings.
I don't know what a swap meet is. But, so they end up, at this point, is the security guard get them, or they set off an alarm?
Right, because they break in.
That's
They're
right,
like,
they break in.
they're like, fuck this window. We need alarms to go off. We need cops. So they
Which is
decide to,
Kind of a smart move.
Yeah.
So they break in the window and they decide to walk around.
Are crazy happy about it.
Yeah, exactly. They're walking around for 5 minutes. No one's showing up.
Woo!
High five.
Yeah, come and get us!
Yeah.
Woo! Like they are so excited.
Even when like the security guard does show up and he's like makes him spread it, spread their legs or whatever, and they're like laughing about it. They're like,
Yeah, we'll spread
movie's
out.
over, man.
And again, everyone's a dick in this movie. Like there are instances where I think Emilio is trying to explain to the cop what's going on. The cop's like, "No, fuck you, save it.
Oh yeah,
Save it for the cops. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your story. I don't want to know anything about you. Spread it."
and they did.
Yeah.
But so again, Fallon, being the homing device that he is, finds them yet again and immediately kills the security guards. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right away.
Very sneaky too. Like one security guard. There were two of them, and one of them went back to, I guess, their office to call the actual cops. And right as he's reaching for the phone, the other dude, I guess it would be Everlast, does he choke him or does he straight up like murder, like knife to the throat?
Oh, geez, I don't remember, but it was pretty quick and brutal. And then they cut the phone, all that stuff. And then he gets on the
Overhead
speakers,
speaker.
Right.
and then Denis Leary's it yet again, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Yeah, you can't see this, but Christine's just been
We have
geeking out for the
dead
past 20
meat
minutes.
from our northern shores.
So basically, this Cuba gets shot.
He gets shot, taking down Everlast.
Yes.
And then Stephen Dorff goes to carry him, and then that's when Leary shoots him in the leg.
Yes.
So both of them are now shot.
Correct.
And Emilio, I don't remember how he gets away from them. I don't remember how that happens, but he hides the Cuba and Stephen away and
I know. Yeah, they eventually make their way to this elevator, this freight elevator, and they go up to the upper floor, and they immediately hide in the men's bathroom, the men's bathroom closet.
Yes.
Which I haven't seen too many closets in bathrooms, but
Especially at
sure.
a swap meet.
That was also the most epically lit closet.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I know we mentioned it earlier, but yeah, this movie I think is actually really well shot.
the lighting is amazing in this movie. Like the shots are also really, really well done.
And there's a lot of we skipped a couple shots, but there's a lot of split diopter shots where you have two things in focus, like something
Yes.
close and something far away.
Yeah, you just don't see that very often. It was done very, very well.
Yeah, and so basically, this all is leading up ultimately to Emilio finally manning up and becoming the badass that we've been hearing about the
he
entire
was
film,
at one point.
and is again,
Yes.
yet again. And basically, Emilio and Fallon they fight.
They fight in what has to be a glass warehouse. They break every piece of glass that is around them within a 20-mile radius.
I don't think they get that cut either.
They don't.
No, not at all.
They should be dead. It was really cool. It was like the way it was lit. There's a lot of blues and reds and stuff. Basically, they fight. Emilio's a badass, and he ultimately defeats the villain. And
Yeah, he tumbles over an edge. The way, I don't know, a lot of these movies tend to go, where it's like they're fighting near a ledge, and inevitably the bad guy goes over the ledge and he stops moving. And you get that one shot from overhead where it's just like the guy's like, "Oh, I'm dead," and I'm not moving.
now he had a one-liner. Emilio had a one-liner, and I don't remember
Oh,
it.
jeez. Oh. And don't call me Francis.
Nailed it.
That's awesome.
I feel like there was
Judged.
something that was cut out of the movie the entire time up to that point where maybe one of his friends would call him Francis, or maybe his brother did every now and then. And he might have this, I hate the name Francis, or something. I feel like that was cut out, and that was supposed to be a last straw thing for him at the end of this movie.
Maybe
Well,
the
I
last
felt like
guy
it was-
he killed was calling him Francis.
Maybe.
Well, I felt like it was still properly set up. It's because it was just Leary just kept calling him Francis over and over and over again.
Okay.
So I felt it was fine. I don't think that there was anything about that came out of the blue.
Okay. It's just me. You're wrong, Jose.
So basically, at this point, Denis Leary's dead, and then Emilio goes to call the cops and has a gun, a similarly looking gun to Fallon's, pointed directly in his face. and it's a police officer.
Yeah.
Finally, they showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
At least it's not like that cliche where it's like after the movies they kill somebody and then you see the lights off in the distance and hear them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, the cops are coming. They're already there,
Yeah.
ready to blow his head off. He starts telling his story real fast, and then the cop, like another cop, just pops in. He's like, "Hey man, his story checks out."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all
Again,
right.
everyone's
Let him go,
a
let him go.
dick.
It's
The
fine.
cop's just like, I'm gonna shoot you first. You're lucky my partner didn't. My partner showed up when he did and cleared everything up.
Yeah.
Vouched for you. Otherwise, you'd be dead.
He's cool. He's cool.
Yeah.
And then Cuba gets wheeled out. He's still alive. And
In
then,
an insanely good mood.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, hey man, next week we're going to a basketball game. Yeah, it's gonna be so fun.
I guess they haven't processed that their friend Ray.
They're,
Is dead.
I'm assuming childhood friend. Like,
Yeah.
It seemed like they had a
least with
significant
Francis.
history.
Yeah.
Dead, murdered in front of them, and they're all just laughing.
Yeah.
Murdered in front of them.
Yeah,
They're
just
both
took it
shot.
I like to think they've all resorted back to their gang-like tendencies.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the end of the movie.
Another day in the hood.
But then you got that back to that.
Yeah, that one song.
Doo-doo.
Yeah, it's falling. Yeah.
You played yourself.
Falling. We're all having a good time because nothing bad happened except our friend was totally murdered in front of our
It's like a
faces.
trail of bodies behind.
By the way, I don't know if you noticed this, but like they tried to wrap this movie up so fast with so many loose ends. It was like one of the cops even said, "Hey man, your wife's outside."
Yeah,
I
did
not
notice
hear that. I didn't hear that at all.
Yeah, I totally saw. Yeah, the ending was a little rushed. It was,
Yes.
it was a little uneven tonally, but yeah, I think overall I enjoyed this movie. I'm glad to have seen it.
Yay. Okay, now that I've said obviously that I love this movie, I need to know what you guys thought, like general thoughts.
Like, let's get a score if you don't.
Oh,
care.
okay, a score.
Like say 1 out of 10, 10 being Judgment Night, 1 being Beverly Hillbillies. I don't know.
10 being.
What? Okay, Christine, what's your score for Judgment Night?
100.
Can you put a number on love? I have an irrational,
True love.
like an irrational affinity for this movie. So,
And that's the point. That's why it was selected.
Right.
yeah. So it's absurd. It is not, it's not like a Fritz Lang film or something, but
Dropping.
Ooh la
Wow,
la.
black and white. Ooh.
possibly the last movie you'd think of when watching Judgment Night, or the last director.
I disagree.
But yeah, it is absurd and it is comical. It's over the top. It drags a bit too long, but it is fucking brilliant. So I would rate it very highly. At least a 9. At least a 9.
All of these
Thank you,
bad
Ebert.
things, it's the best.
It is.
That's great.
So let's break it down.
Jose.
Okay, there's actually a lot of people that showed up for it. Like the actors all did a really great job. The shot composition, the cuts, a lot of people did a really, really good job. And so I can't say that this was a bad movie, really. I would say 7.5, 8.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Shockingly high for what I was expecting.
I know. The way he has such a good poker face.
I don't know if I can judge it on a scale because the first time I watched it, I was like, wow, that was almost, that was kind of a best worst kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought I could not watch it over again right now. Like that was out there. And then the second time we watched it, I was like, that was better the second time around.
It is, isn't it?
I enjoyed it more. But and this says a lot about me. The first time we were watching it, I was so anxious about the RV.
What?
I was so anxious that they got in a fender bender. I was like, oh my God, Jeremy Piven is going to have to pay for that scratch.
Oh, that is so
Wow.
awesome.
And the anxiety, I think, of that made me not appreciate it.
Poor Razor.
I have a problem.
Well, a scratch was the least of that.
Yeah.
It really was. Once it was gone, I was a little better. But it was still in the back of my mind.
Oh.
Anyway.
So, wow. All right. obviously I was a little biased because I had such a connection with Christine and hearing that story of her love for it. But I went in with this movie with pretty no expectations, really, because I know movies tend not to age from when you're younger. I was pleasantly surprised. It absolutely is not a perfect movie.
Yeah,
by
it's
any
no
means.
Cool Runnings.
No, and it will never be. It will never make that level of money. Hopefully, we will be the ones to bring this movie into your homes. You're going to have to work, unfortunately, to find it, though. It's currently not streaming as the time we record this anywhere.
Just buy it.
You can purchase
buy
this.
it.
Yes, you can purchase it at Amazon, which is what I did.
It's making a comeback.
According to Is It Streaming or Just Streaming, whatever that site's called, you can, if you have a Netflix DVD subscription, rent this movie, possibly.
Oh, okay.
Anyone want to guess on its Rotten Tomatoes score?
Ooh.
43%.
I was gonna say 58.
Okay, we got.
I know what it is because I looked it up.
It is currently sitting at 31%.
Oh,
Wow.
That's 5 fresh, 11 rotten. So that's not enough reviews, I don't think.
It isn't, and I don't know what kind of movie they were watching. 'Cause clearly,
Because clearly they were wrong.
Before we close out here, we're going to do some plugs. I guess we'll start with Jose Rivera. Where can we find you? Tell us about yourself.
Sure. If you guys want to check out some of my art stuffs, you can go to thevictorioussbullet.com. And that's going to take you to my my blog. You'll see whatever sketches or whatever animations I happen to want to post. So yeah, go ahead and check that out.
Robin, do you have anything?
I don't have anything to plug right now, but I'll.
do you have a Twitter or anything?
I have Facebook. I'm just.
You don't want people.
Do
No.
not do not
But I don't.
do not
have a
find me
Twitter.
on Facebook.
I do not have Twitter. I don't have anything.
Christine, what about yourself?
You can go to my website at escapingwestlawn.com or follow me on Twitter at DSLR_girl. But you can find me on Twitter there.
Cool. You can follow me on Twitter at Robert J. Haynes, or you can follow the Milkshake Boom on Twitter as well. It's at milkshake_boom because the Milkshake Boom is too long and somebody already had Milkshake Boom.
Really?
How dare you.
Wow.
I know. So that's at milkshake_boom. Or if you have any questions, comments, anything you'd like to add to the discussion, feel free to email us at themilkshakeboom@gmail.com and check us out on themilkshakeboom.com.